Jhon Duran entered the second half and scored that wonderful goal to give Aston Villa a win against Bayern Munich. That game was sometimes 50-50, but Bayern Munich actually played well. Aston Villa played well. Unai Emery is building what everybody is loving as Aston Villa. When he took over that team, they were around the relegation battle. He took them, stabled the ship. Now they are a top.
Somebody like West Ham now will be dreaming of days like this where you move into, one day you move into a European competition and you face a seasoned veteran like Bayern Munich and you win.
You miss them for group stage. What if you miss them for quarterfinals?
You win. So it's a good win for Aston Villa. You can't take the shine off Aston Villa getting that result.
It's a group stage match. What if you miss in the knockout stages?
This is not group stage. This is league.
It's still the same thing. And still group stage where you call out. You understand? There's still 8 games to be played. You played. This is game week 2.
The first part about that, they are not going to play Bayern Munich again.
That's what I'm saying. It's still game week 2. What if after the long run, Bayern Munich qualifies for knockout stages and they meet in the knockout stages? What will not happen then?
Until then,
so you get a 1-win. So don't call, because even the West Ham recently just got a trophy from Europe, from the Continental. So don't call West Ham into it. Continue with your Aston Villa doing their good job. I'm not going to take away the shine of Unai Emery saying he's not a good coach. He's a good coach. He's done something different for Aston Villa. You get, when I think Steven Gerrard was at Rangers, when he almost took the trophy, or perhaps he took the trophy from the Scottish League, from Celtic, breaking the jinx or the trend of Celtic winning it 10 in a row. He broke it just once and they stopped at 9. And he came to Aston Villa with the hopes that, okay, after Klopp leaves Liverpool, he will take over. But it no work. If he didn't. He came to Aston Villa to build himself. But you see what happened. Like you said before, I think you were saying off camera before that, if a young manager is given a big job and he fails on that job, he go hard before he go say another job. Where Steven dey now, she be follow out of their pressure and everything. He go Saudi. He still didn't dey. He has to go back now to a smaller team to build himself. It's just what I'm saying. I'm not saying you come because of Aston Villa is doing well. Aston Villa is doing well this season. They are finishing in the top 6 this season. Yes.
Even last season.
That's what I'm saying now. Last season to bring them into this season. West Ham also did the same thing. You're forgetting that part. 3 years ago, they finished in the top 6.
Top 4.
Top 6.
Okay.
I don't say top 4. Top 6.
Aston Villa is doing top 4.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
The target is to do what? To go to Europe.
If you ask me, I think Aston Villa are doing a fantastic job. Even the blind can see that they are doing well. There's progression going on there. From where they were before Unai Emery came in to where they've been this last season, and even this season starting the way they've been. You know what it means for a club like Aston Villa that has spent decades watching other teams around them progress, go on into Europe, win a couple of title or two, and then being on the sidelines watching in now to be finally in the mix. You could see the emotion yesterday when the final whistle went, the jubilation, the excitement.
They were celebrating
as if they won a title. Yes, because that's what it means. In and out, season ticket holders, season in and out, watching the team. And you just have to come back to that same fact, and you have to give Unai Emery his plaudits. You have to give his players the plaudits. You have to give Jhon Duran, because if you look at the last 4 games, Jhon Duran has been either a game winner or an assist provider or a goal scorer or a man of the match performance. He's just been there, and you have to give him his plaudits and give Unai Emery his plaudits as well too.
No. So if you look at, sometimes when they talk and say, coach follow they play football. A coach can get his tactics right. Unai Emery is getting everything he's doing now right. Apart from few games he lost to Aston and some games he lost and he drew. Apart from that, if you see the way he has conducted himself in the press conference, he hasn't caused any problem. All those controversial talks, you come and talk one thing in the press conference and everybody is on you. He knows how to conduct himself. Even when they are making fun of him because of his English, he didn't bother. He carried out his business. Now he has taken this Aston Villa. He has stabled this ship. Now, do you think that he can move them forward to, I don't know, maybe I think they need to spend more money to challenge the league title from Manchester City and probably go far in the Champions League.
Going far in the Champions League, it's yet to be seen. It's still the first. I keep saying this. If you do well in your matches, it's a game at a time. If you do well in your matches, we'll give you your credit, we'll give you your plaudits.
You have 6 points.
You have
now.
6 points. You have 6 more games to go. You get regularly we'll say, okay, after these 6 points now you only have just 4 more games to go. Then inside that 4 more games, if you have 6 points from the 12, possible 12, you're secured. But in these next 6 games, if you even have 12 more points, you are not sure whether you're going to qualify because somebody else is targeting 20 points. You get, so it's just one of those things you say, if you do well, we give you credit, we give you your plaudits. And I think Aston Villa so far has done fantastic for the 2 games they played, not losing. So you see that they are building a side. I like the way he comes into the press conference. I like the way he communicates with his players. There was a time he told this person, Jhon Duran was almost out of the club during the summer. And when John had that conversation with him, because definitely for you to stay back, you will have a conversation with the coach. And he told him, unless you're willing to play off the bench and you're willing to tell me you can fight for your position. And that's what John is doing. You can't come into the side. You know the side is already complete the way it is. Yeah, the starting lineup is complete. The bench is complete. But you want to show yourself that you are made for this. You get, this is what you're built for. Then fine, come into the side. Most times they introduce him in the 70th minute, and after he comes in, he scores a 90-minute goal. You introduce somebody, and after 60 minutes, he's scoring a goal. After 17 minutes, he's making an assist, which means he should be starting, but there's no room for starting place for him.
Watkins is playing.
There's Watkins there. There's Leon Bailey there. There are other smart players that are playing ahead of him, so he can't play. So he comes in 30 minutes for Leon Bailey or for Watkins, and he scores his goals, and that's the end for him. It's okay, fighting. That's what they call fighting, which means you have to give Watkins the room to say, I have to improve, because if I don't improve myself, that's one thing with great coaches. You bring in somebody on the bench that you know the person on the bench is better than the person starting if he's given the opportunity. So what he do is, for that person being on the bench, he makes the person starting to work harder to earn his position. In case he doesn't want to work harder to earn his position, the person on the bench will take him and put him on the bench.
Okay, if you look at Kompany lost his first game as a Bayern Munich coach. This game, I won't say it was quite balanced. They played well.
Yeah.
They had 17 shots on goal. 7 of them was on target.
Yes.
So I think Martinez, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, was the man of the match for me, because he kept serving. I think I like his confidence. I like that guy. I don't know why I like that. I don't even know why Arsenal let him go. But he's not in this Aston Villa team. He that won the World Cup and 2 Copa America. That shows that he is very good. Okay, Kompany now, what does he need to do to improve this Bayern Munich side? Because the Champions League is very important for a club like Bayern Munich, John.
You know, for me, I think this game is one result out of a body of work this season that, like we said for Slot, is a reality check. And you need to go back to the basics. For Slot, it was being too reserved, being too compact, being too okay with sitting back and closing out games and not being as ruthless as they need to be. For Kompany, I don't think it's going back to the drawing board. I think it's going back to reworking your team. If you look at the team that started yesterday, we have Gnabry on the left, Olise in the middle, and Coman and Kane up front. For me, at a certain point in time, this Bayern Munich team needs to bring a striker that will come in and sit in that his position and do his job. You can have the Kane that can drop back to midfield though, but you need that man up there. Look at their compare in Leipzig. Leipzig had Openda, Leipzig had Zesco, and both men know how to sit in and do their job. Now, Zesco is very, very mobile, but no matter what happens, he sticks to that position. You can't have a Harry Kane who is drifting, who is going to finish the opportunities. 7 on target and over 10 or more missed chances. You need to have somebody who is going to sit down there and bury that position. And secondly, if you look at transfers policies made so far, a couple of these signings that he's made, what is the structure? How do you blend these guys into the side without losing the identity of the midfield? Because for most of the time, the midfield looks to me, Konrad Laimer especially, had a poor game in my perspective. You're entitled to your own opinion, but Konrad Laimer had a poor game. And we need to see these guys make these changes to turn games around.
No, so if you look at what John is talking about, this striking position, if you look at Real Madrid last season, when they were losing a game or they are chasing a game, they need somebody to camp. Yeah. They bring in Jesselu in, and most times, I think he scored against one team. He scored 2 goals. He was introduced and he scored 2 goals. Yeah.
Off the bench.
Do you think that Bayern Munich needs a striker like that? A striker you can introduce that can actually complement Harry Kane if they are chasing a game?
They have that already, but the thing is, they are too scared to play that kind of football. Because Bayern Munich, you see, Thomas Müller was once upon a time a striker. They had to get Lewandowski because he wasn't always sitting. He wasn't always camping. They had to get Harry Kane because Muller does not camp. Now Harry Kane and Muller know they camp. You get the two of them that are supposed to be striking for these players are not camping. They also they drift. So look at Bayern Munich. If you ask yourself, in recent years, who has the most goals? Aside from Lewandowski, who has the most goals? It was always from the flanks. Ribery and Ruben. That's their philosophy. That's their style of play. They've never had a striker come in and sit and camp and score 1,000 goals. Most of the strikers they've had right from time
Lewandowski was there, and at certain seasons he got
from time,
50 goals.
Understand me? Wait
in
now.
and out, 50,
that was
40 goals and more.
That was
from
just,
services, of course, but he's the man that camped and he's the man that got those goals.
That was just the time they drifted a bit. Before then, they've always had a striker that doesn't camp. You get the striker that always come into midfield. Ribery's and Rubens, they always score the goals. Midfielders, they always score the goals because they have a hold-up play striker. Like I've said it before, except for if you look at the players list of players that drift or that camp for Bayern Munich, you have Klose and Lewandowski. These are the only two players that camped and scored tapping goals most of the time, scored credible goals. The rest of them always drift. You talk about the Mandzukic, the Marios, and all of that. They always drift, even the Mullers and currently now.
So do you think that Bayern Munich need a striker that can camp?
And look at one thing I also understand is when they have those strikers that drift, they also have strikers that camp in case the drifting does not work. You get, I wish they do now. You get, they do, but the thing is, the drifting is working, is getting them goals. So why, since I'm getting the goals, so why change or make a sub to bring in someone that will just camp in the positions box when I'm already getting the goals already?
Clearly, the drifting is not working because they are struggling to win. They are struggling to win a Leverkusen side. This is a side that you would on a normal day dominate in the Bundesliga. You are struggling to win an Aston Villa side.
Don't do that, John.
Yes,
don't do that
that is what it is. Go back and check the records.
Don't do that to Leverkusen.
Go back and check the head-to-head records.
Last season, they won their games. They played a draw. I think they took 4 points from Bayern Munich.
Go back and check the head-to-head records.
It's not. See, you're talking about 17 years ago.
I'm not talking about 17 years ago. In the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons, go back and check head-to-head records, and you will see it there.
If we keep talking about history, nobody has won up to 10 games against Bayern Munich. But Leverkusen came last season, played an unbeaten season. So don't put them in that light that they didn't, because this is a new coach, a new style, the same team, but he's trying to implement his style. He played against Leverkusen side. You know, one thing about smaller teams is when they win trophy, 70% of the players leave. You understand? If you go check the record now, even Girona in in La Liga, they've sold 45% of their top players from last season that finished in the top 4. Where are they now? They are struggling to win games. Go back and check history. Leicester City, after that Premier League win, many of their players left for other clubs. So Leverkusen won the trophy last season. So don't put them in that light. They won the trophy last season off Bayern Munich, and they are still contending for the trophy this season because they didn't let most of their players go. You get, so don't compare them with Leverkusen. I'm not saying
go back and look at the head-to-head, and we can have that conversation.
I'm just saying, if you want to look at head-to-head from 10 years ago,
I'm not talking about 10 years ago. Look at the last 4 seasons, and we'll have a conversation around it.
That's you. I'm just saying, this season they've gotten their goals, they've won their matches. The only because of Leverkusen now where they draw now and Aston Villa where they lose, you got to say that they get a whole lot of transfer business to do. No, they are getting their job done. This is the same team that scored 9 goals past their past opponents in the same Champions League. And we all came here, this same team that played, we all came here, sang them praises. Why is it that when they lose against Aston Villa, then it's not a problem, they need to do transfer business?
I'm calling it as it is. If you look at the Bayern Munich side, you only have Harry Kane as an out-and-out striker and Matis Tel. Muller is a striker 9.5 or 10.5. Muller no get direction. You won't be say put her inside the game, may do anything when you want to. Simple and short. You understand me? So those are the only players you have. And then in a game like this where you should be winning or where you should be utilizing your strengths now, like you said, the flanks to be doing that, you're having a common Gnabry combination in the midfield with Olise in the 10 rather than Musiala. Olise should have been in the wings or coming into the game in the second half or whatever for Musiala to start. Musiala wasn't starting.
Not available. He's not
Musiala wasn't available, and you can see that the creativity in that side was questionable because he wasn't present.
Come on now, this is
Yes,
the
it is what it
This
is.
is Olise that was spoiled creativity, even against for Crystal
He
Palace.
was playing out of his position. He should be playing down the flanks.
Down the flanks. Olise last season played down the flanks and through the middle. Let's call it. See, more than just because one person nails down one spot does not mean he cannot perform in the other spot. But this Olise last season played from the middle, played from the flank. So
What was his record in both positions?
See, he had numbers everywhere. You get maybe more numbers from this side than here, but I'm just saying, last game, you see if players are not match fit, you play the players that are match available for that position that can play. See, I've said this before. If a coach has players that can only nail down one spot in the team, sell the player off. Because what if this player is not available and you need somebody to replace that person because you don't have a sub for that person? What will happen then?
Then what happens when your player that is multi-talented is underperforming in either positions? What do you do in that scenario too?
Then you play him there and he will get you results. This person is not match fit.
He
and
will
there's
get
no
you
other
results in time, not
this person is not match
at
fit.
the minute or at the moment when he's
deliver.
ready.
This person is not match fit. What's it called? Was not match fit. He had a knock before the game or during the game, and they had to manage him. You get against Leverkusen, he had a knock. They had to manage him for this game. That's why they introduced him in the 60th minute or so. There's a Pavlovic who can play that position, but you don't trust him to play there.
Pavlovic started that match.
That's what I'm saying. Now you have Olise who can play well from there. Why not just play? Gnabry always, you notice Gnabry always plays from the bench. Koeman is back available. Players plenty that can play anywhere and they can get results from anywhere. No, and mind you, Gnabry does not play from the left. He plays from the right.
Okay, if you keep saying it on this particular podcast, if a coach gets it right, it's like a tactical genius. But when he loses a match like the way Kompany did yesterday, it's like everything he's doing is not working.
Just
Like,
yesterday, na experience. Now just experience of.
I
think
I don't think-
another thing is underestimating your opponent, because if you did not underestimate Aston Villa, you start your starting 11 and you put your best foot forward.
Well,
Simple.
as we keep saying it depending. You can call it experience, you cannot say it's experience, it's not experience, because Kompany is not experienced, Unai Emery is experienced. At least Ancelotti in this own game was experienced, he still lost the game. So I think football is a game that everybody enjoys, because sometimes the team that we think that will win might not be able to get a result.